Today, let's talk transit. Getting around a place as large as the metro isn't easy if you don't have a car. And right now, Kansas City is not exactly known for its public transportation. That's not to say changes aren't turning heads. Just 3 years ago, in 2020, KCATA became the first major U.S. transit system to go fare-free. Riders all across the metro could jump on a bus, get to their destination without paying a dime.
Oh, that's a good thing because there's a lot of people that don't have bus fare to get on the bus, and that'll help a lot more people.
But just because it's free doesn't mean it's accessible. The Center for Neighborhood Technology says less than 13% of low-income Kansas City families live within a half mile of most public transit options. So the challenge involves creating access, filling those gaps, avoiding isolation. An issue that came to a head earlier this month in the Northland. City leaders at Gladstone publicly called out a new KCATA contract for bus, flex, and paratransit services. It jumped from $87,000 to about $340,000, which would have eaten up half the city's street maintenance budget. A change the city called unsustainable. KCATA's deputy CEO tells me the cost spike covers bus services Gladstone hadn't paid for in the past. Services historically, but no longer subsidized by Kansas City, Missouri. He also said Gladstone isn't the only suburb in this situation right now, though others are footing the higher bill. Gladstone is giving up its bus service because of this starting in September and is now in the middle of a trial of KCATA's new IRIS program, with free rides being offered within city limits for the next few months.
The idea is we want you to be connected to transit.
IRIS is a rideshare service first offered in the Northland and now just this month expanded to the rest of Kansas City proper. It's usually not free, at least not all the time. A ride can cost you anywhere from $3 to $10 depending on where you're going. And it marks a shift from the traditional transportation plan we've seen for years in KC. So what does this mean for the metro and for the people trying to get to and from Kansas City from the suburbs, for example? Joining me now is David Johnson, chair of the Kansas City Regional Transit Alliance. It's a local nonprofit promoting accessibility and improved transit in the metro. Thanks so much for being here. Talk about this big macro conversation when it comes to, what do we need to improve transit? And there are a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts here. But we've seen this back and forth over service and pricing and access for cities and towns outside of Kansas City. How do you see that shaking out here in the future?
Well, first of all, it's important to note that there really are no right answers here.
Right.
It's really a combination of public input, trying to be equitable, and not, have a disparate impact on, groups. But once you're past that, it really is kind of open to, a community dialogue. Zero Fare has had a lengthy community dialogue, for example, since it was implemented in 2020. And now that IRIS is newly rolled out this year, we're having a dialogue about that. There isn't a right way to price these services either once you design them. And so you really have to kind of do your best estimate on what will moderate demand and then what will also provide equitable access.
And I imagine the change here with Kansas City not subsidizing some of these suburban services too. I mean, they're feeling that when they look at their budgets.
Yeah.
How do you move on from that? I mean, everybody needs to pitch in, I guess.
Historically, these routes that ran through these enclave communities, and this is a problem that is unique to an enclave community that is surrounded by Kansas City, Missouri, and there's only a few of them. So North Kansas City, Gladstone, I think Raytown. And services exist that are provided by KCATA in all of them. The funding is obviously an issue. And so you had to weigh, as someone planning service at KCATA, where I used to work, does it make sense to close the door when you're running through an enclave community if they're not contributing to the cost of service? Or do you open the doors knowing that some of the people boarding or alighting in Gladstone may be Kansas City, Missouri residents or taxpayers going to locations in Kansas City, Missouri? So historically, it's gone back and forth actually. Originally those doors were closed through those enclaves, then they were opened, and now the city has said it's not our policy anymore to compensate KCATA for opening the doors through those enclaves that aren't contributing to the cost of service.
A bit of a tightrope walk there.
It is, and it's obviously not popular with customers who no longer have access to that service, hence the expansion of IRIS to those places.
At KCRTA, you're working with contributors and representatives outside of Kansas City proper.
That's right.
As you said, a regional transit alliance. What's the word on the street right now when it comes to, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now, and how do we, as you said, no right answer, but how do you at least chip away at that?
So What we're trying to focus the region on is the rest of the region. So Kansas City, Missouri does provide the lion's share of transit funding. It bears the burden of the entire region's transit service by and large. There are other communities that provide probably about $20 million total compared to KCATA's $100 million. It's a little bit harder to make routes that span those municipal boundaries and county boundaries because of the way the service is funded. Case in point, Gladstone.
Right.
So if you switch the funding model or added to the funding with county-based funding, as is the case on the Johnson and Wyandotte County side, you could have services that go further and not have this, border issue that we're seeing play out with the bus service and the IRIS. Yeah.
I think what struck me most is the lack of access for some, especially lower income families,
That's
trying to get around. How do you tackle that and try to make this more equitable and provide more access?
Well, unlike many other government services, transit doesn't go everywhere equally. It's an unfortunate reality. I wish there was enough money to go to everyone's street and front door, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. So you have to make the best decisions you can with the resources that are available. And KCATA, I'm proud to say, of the work we did there and the work that's still going on, they are doing that. The most amount of service is in the areas of most need. And some recent changes that were made during the pandemic expanded that area in the Northland where there are pockets of lower income families and households. But the most of the need is in the urban core, and that's where most of the service is. So it's hard, but it is really about here's what we have every year, here's what the city provides the agency to put out on the street, and then here's what it costs, and then you have to make decisions about who to serve. And there are actually regulations on that connected to the Civil Rights Act. So you can't just take service away from a low-income community and spread it out across the more enriched Northland or South Kansas City, for example, just willy-nilly. There has to be some consideration for disparate impact.
Right. That's a good point. All right, we'll leave it there for today. David Johnson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information on the IRIS program and other public transportation options still available to you around Kansas City, visit ridekc.org.